All right, let's see. Okay. All right, let's see if the notifications go out. Where is my thing? I'm seeing if it's switching up on my end or not. Okay. I see it on my end that it has come up. And so, yay! Yes, I see some of y'all typing. It takes a little while for it to show what y'all write, but yay! Life with Shanley, hello, and Desiree Kavanagh, hello, and Annette, hello. Awesome, awesome. Let me get my legs crossed here. All right. Yay, I'm glad that y'all could hang out. Happy Friday. We have made it to Friday. For me this week, that is an accomplishment. I'm like, oh, made it to Friday. Man, I need some color. Jeez. Let me do like the old people do. Oh, you need some color? Here's some temporary blush. And here's some temporary lipstick. There. Got some temporary color. There's some life back into me. It won't last long, but I am alive for the time being. Heather Marie, hello. Yeah, Desiree, you said it's been a hard week. Yes, it has. It hasn't been like for me, at least. It's not like it's been a hard week, you know, with tragic stuff that I've had to deal with in other weeks. It's just been a hard week in that there's been so much to do, so little time, and then the time that I do have, I have felt like wiped out, exhausted, like just tired, sleepy, and like, ugh, I can't do it. I don't have the energy to even pull myself to it. That kind of hard week. Today is perking a little bit better, probably because it's Friday, first of all, and then second of all, because I actually had the time and ability this morning to go to a little 1-hour yoga class at my gym. And so just being able to move my body and be in a peaceful kind of situation for an hour was nice. I really needed that this week. So to have been able to have that this week, just to do that one time, was nice. It was nice. Carla Shropshire, hello. Yay. Oh man, y'all. I was thinking through what all we could talk about today. Excuse me for yawning. I'm sorry. The tiredness of the week is not completely gone yet. I just feel better, you know, like with my mental health and physical health and all that kind of stuff. I feel better. But I'm still probably tired. Still could use like some naps or some real good sleep at night. So sorry for the yawning in advance. I probably will do it again during the live stream. It doesn't mean that I'm bored. It doesn't mean that I don't want to be here. It just means that I'm tired, and it is an overcast day, and a cold day at that. So the cold and the overcast, and that I've already been tired all week, it just makes the perfect like ambiance for, oh, let me deep sigh and yawn a lot because, and so it has nothing to do with y'all, and I'm sorry. I know yawning here is unprofessional, but I can't make it stop. It's just gonna happen, okay? Sometimes you can't stop bodily functions. They just do what they do. You know what I mean? Just be glad it's not a fart. Christine Rodriguez, hello. So just got in the chat. Howdy, hello. Love from Texas, yay. Clear Your Head Ambiance says hello with a wavy hand. So hi to you. Hi to Seraphine from the Netherlands, representing all the way across the pond. Carla Shropshire says, TGIF for sure, yes. Thank God it's Friday. And Seraphine said, that makes me yawn as well. I know, and yawns are addicted. Like, you start saying the word or doing the thing, and then everybody starts doing it. It's like, uh-oh, whoops. Apologies. Oh, thank you, Seraphine. Says, don't forget to hit the like button. Yep. I've got my vitamin water, so I'm going to be drinking my vitamin water. I don't know if it's actual vitamins. It was an electrolyte packet. I don't really know what all is in electrolyte packets. Stuff like potassium and sodium and stuff, I imagine. So, and it tastes like mango, which is why it looks like piss. But don't worry. I know that there are people out there that like to do whatever kind of stuff with their piss. They like to think of it as healing and all of that. And I don't know enough about it, so I guess I can't, knock it. But I'm not playing with my piss. I'm just drinking some mango electrolytes, okay? Just gonna clear the record there. Marina C, hello. Oh, man. I have not gotten this live stream off to a very good start. I have run off at the mouth saying all kinds of shit. Welcome to the madness and mayhem that we are here today. Maddie, hello to you too. Oh my gosh. Hello to you too. Oh, which reminds me, Maddie, actually. I don't know why. Well, whatever. Either way, this reminds me. So how my recent video a couple days ago was the one on kind of over the next 50 years, what all's going to be transpiring within the next 50 years. There was somebody that left a comment on it this morning that was like, this is great. Can we also do one for just over the next 5 years so we can kind of see how much of the things that were coming up in that video are going to be coming up, really soon? Or is there more detail we can get because we're looking at a smaller period of time, really soon within the next 5 years? And that made me think about your question, which I have the stuff written down, on this sticky note, because I was going to do a video on it, Maddie, but I might consolidate and do things together, because you were talking about whether or not, will there be an event in 2026, 2027? If so, is it about ETs? Is it about energy shifts? Is it about another pandemic, war, a natural disaster? What kind of a thing? And then specifically that there may have been some rumor mill stuff about around Easter. And so I was thinking, because I looked back, I was like, I think I did something similar to this, but not quite, but kind of. There was a video that somebody was asking ET related questions about some sort of event for 2026. And so I did a video on that. And then this is kind of similar, but a little bit beyond that for 2027. And so I might include some of what you've written here and put it into a next 5 years type of reading, so that way, if anybody's like, oh, there was already a video on this, then they can see that, it's different. We've got some overlap, but it's not the same. So those are some ideas I was thinking about. So when I saw you pop in here, I was like, oh yeah, I just to let you know, I was thinking about some of those things. I have notes all over here. What the fuck did I put on the back of this? Maybe include, but too much for one video. Oh, okay. I've got notes all over the place. I don't even know what all of them mean. But anyway, to be determined on that idea. I don't know what all of y'all think about that idea, but somebody was mentioning that about the 5-year thing in the comments this morning, and it reminded me of what Maddie was talking about for some, potential events that could be coming or whatever around 2027-ish. So I was wondering about doing those separately versus compiling them together and making sure that we kind of get everything answered, because I think that I am curious about all of these things as well. I think that they are great questions. Yes. Let me see where I am. Let's see. Marina C says, that's what they all say. Hey. That's what I do to my husband all the time whenever he says something and it's completely benign, whatever he says, but I've got to just like act like he's in trouble and be like, hey. And I just like point at him like this. And I'm like, disrespect. And I just start yelling disrespect without the T at the end. Disrespect. And he's just like, and just starts walking off, because I mean it could be anything. He could, like how you're like that's what they all say, he could be like, yeah, and so we could turn it on this TV channel if that's what you were kind of looking for. If you wanted to watch Ghostober stuff, we could turn it on the Travel Channel, and I'll be like, hey, don't tell me what to do, disrespect and stuff. And he'll be like, like I wasn't telling you what to do, I was just coming up, and I'm like, disrespect. And so now I just did that to you, Marina. Maddie's like, I came in at an interesting point. Piss play. Which, no shame to people who like that. Just not my arena, okay? Mango electrolytes, man. Mango electrolytes. Hydrate with the power of electrolytes. And fruity overtones. Yes. GNXO, hello. Valley Girl, hi. B, how you doing? I am doing ridiculous, apparently, is the appropriate answer. I am ridiculous on this day. Probably because it is a Friday. I don't know. Actually, I don't really know why I get like this. It's just natural. I get like this. Thank you, GNXO, for all the things. Expert moderator here. Expert mod. Maddie says, oh yes, my millions of questions, haha. But yeah, I feel those questions feel appropriate for the 50-year topic. Yeah, it's like, I do want to dig into a lot of these things. I think that you brought up a lot of things. You said if it resonates with you, it does. I'm just trying to balance all the things, all the questions, and see how we can get them together. But I think that they're great questions. And I imagine a lot of people are wondering the same things that you are and that I am. So I appreciate you bringing those up. I have them on my sticky. I have them on my millions of stickies all over the desk. But one of the stickies is that, and I knew exactly which sticky it was. I picked it up like that. I was like, of all the stickies, it's this one. This pink little one right here tucked under my mouse cushion or hand rest or whatever this thing is that you rest your wrist on when you type. It's under that. Neurodivergent piles. I have piles. But I know what they mean. Did we ever do the reading on time? You know what? I don't think so, because I vaguely remember us talking about wanting a reading on time, but then I can't remember what the questions were about time, so that makes me think that I did not do a reading on it. Can you refresh me, if you're okay with that, Heather, about what it was about time that we were wanting to look into? Like, what kinds of questions were we curious about? Because let me see if I have that in my phone, because I have sticky notes for things that I write down when I'm by a sticky note, and I have things in my phone that I write down when I'm not by a sticky note. Let me see if I have any of that in my phone too. Where's the channel vids notepad? Okay, let me see. It wasn't that. So, nope, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't that. So far, I'm not finding it in my notes either. Did I not write that one down? Did I miss it? I have time travel written down, but I don't think that's what we were referring to. Nope, I didn't have it written down. Well, shit. I'm sorry, I did not have it written down. So let's see what you are gonna... Let's see. First, okay, Maddie was saying, coconut water's my go-to electrolyte booster. Good idea. Gotta stay boosted and hydrated. Feel like that's one of my neurotic tendencies. Haha. Yeah. I mean, it does a lot. It does a lot. So much of what your brain has to do, it's like making a car have, oil. You have to have oil in your car, and you have to have the right amount of oil, or else it's going to start to burn up. You got to get your oil changed in your car all the time. And staying hydrated is what your brain needs to be like a good oiled up brain, or else you're going to burn it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I did a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I did a hot yoga session at 125 degrees, and I drank plenty of water, but I didn't put any electrolytes in it. I thought the water was going to be enough. No. I needed electrolytes too, and I burned my brain. Like I could feel my brain feel scorched, and I was messed up for like 4 days. It was bad. And so it really did feel like did not do an oil change in the car. You need to have to do the oil change. So I think that is a perfectly appropriate thing to be neurotic about. It makes sense. Okay, Heather Marie says, the thing about time was a couple live streams ago, just about how time is moving. How time is moving weirdly. And you said it's a big video, not a mini read. Yes, because thank you for reminding me. Yeah, it was about that we were all saying, doesn't it feel like time is speeding up? Like time is accelerating, time is getting away from us, kind of a thing. So yes. Yes, I'm going to write that down this time. I may have written it down some other time and I just lost wherever the hell I wrote it down. So let me do that again. Yes. So, time speeding up type of thing, or about like how it's or moving weirdly / moving weirdly. I'll think of questions around that because inevitably there will be people that say, well, we hear all the time that there is no time on the other side and this and that, but there's time here. So like, is there a way that we can know how time works or stuff like that? And so, yeah, okay. I can tell there will be questions on that. So I have it on my sticky note here. I have that on my sticky note. I was going to say technically we might be able to do something kind of like that today on various mini reads. If we just kind of extend, instead of doing multiple mini reads on little things, we could do kind of a bigger read on this. Maybe. I don't know. Because, okay, sorry. Mind, mouth, same speed. Mind, mouth, same speed. I was also thinking about the fact that we are now in October. And a lot of times, at least in the previous couple years, when we have done mini readings in Octobers, we have done like Spooktober type mini readings. We've done, just for fun, keeping the kind of Halloween October spirit. We've done little spooky readings and stuff like that. So we don't have to, but we can. And if we wanted to, talking about like, time, Twilight Zone, that can go kind of feel like a Spooktober type of thing. So I don't know, maybe, but also I do think that could be a big reading as well for sure. Cause I'm sure there's plenty of brain busting things in there that I'm going to be like, I am trying to interpret what the guides mean, but I don't know. This is a challenge. So, thank you for reminding me, Heather. Grace Moon, hello. And then Gene XO says, time has slowly sped up due to the Earth tilting on its axis slightly and the speed of rotation has increased. Huh. Very interesting. So how the Earth tilts on its axis has changed a little, or the rotation has changed a little? Lord, this stuff is This stuff is bizarre. Who just walked in here? Bodhi has just come in here. Bodhi, you don't want to be in here. Go lay down. Bodhi's going through some issues. He's got to go to the vet on Monday and get them checked out. And Teddy's on my couch. On the pillow right there. Pet. Yeah, so Teddy's on the couch and Buddy is down here begging to get up. Go lay down. Hopefully he will. Juniper Jones, hello. And Mocha Sims, hello. Nope, you haven't missed much. I'm all over the place today. It's been diarrhea of the mouth, and I have no idea. I am in rare form today. Genexo says the days are shorter since 2020 because of the slight tilt. It's scientific and there's plenty of explanations for it. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Since 2020 because of a slight tilt. Wild. Have I made a video about the what? 3iAtlas? 3iAtlas? I don't know what this is. There's probably something that makes sense and I just don't know what it is. But hello, CC Creates. Hello. Lauren Myers, hello. You said, girl, been meaning to book a reading with you, sending all the love and light in the meantime. Big hugs to you, Lauren. And yes, absolutely, you know where to reach me if you need to or want to. No pressure, nothing like that. And it also says that you've been Perk Squad member for 53 months. It's crazy. Because I know that you're like OG in the Perk Squad. And I can't believe, 53 months sounds like just such a long time. And I'm like, holy crap, how long have I been around here on this little YouTube business? So thank you. Grace Moon says, yes, for the Spooktober bee, I'm interested with the Vampire Atlantis lore. Okay. Now I'm like, hold on. Interested in vampire lore and also in Atlantis lore? Or is there some sort of way that vampires and Atlantis overlap and have their own overlapped lore? Because that would be wild, because I would have never have heard of that before. And I'm sure you'll be like, a separate, but I don't know. I was like, what? Heather Marie says, definitely down for spooky readings. Maddie says, I've wanted to try hot yoga, but I'm a sweaty Betty, so I don't know. Have you ever tried Kundalini yoga? I don't know much about it, but I've heard it mentioned from a teacher. I haven't tried Kundalini yoga, but that sounds really cool, and I would be interested. I don't know if they have that kind of thing around here. Hot yoga, they only have 2 places within 45-minute drives from where I am. So it's not a lot of options, but one of them is actual an hour class of yoga with a teacher and, other classmates and stuff like that. The other one is just Hotworks, which I think is just kind of a little franchise everywhere where they have, little saunas, little infrared saunas that can fit up to 3 people in each one. And you're just got, a video playing on a loop that you kind of go in and it's semi-private and you do your little 40-minute thing there to some workout videos. So I've done both. The one I injured myself in was the Hotworks one. I was like, you idiot! You scorched your brain! You need electrolytes, not just water! So, yeah, it was so weird to be I literally feel my brain scorched. It's not my head. It's literally I can feel what's inside my head feeling scorched, like when you burn your tongue on some hot chocolate or something like that. It was a very bizarre experience. I learned my lesson. Thought water was enough, but no, you need electrolytes. And I've also been changing the heat dial too. So Grace Moon says, I got a past life reading and she said that my soul once lived in Atlantis. Oh, so I'm still curious about that. Like, I love the seas, but can't swim to save my life. I'm kind of like that, too. Like, I can doggy paddle enough to, like, stay alive until I get tired of doggy paddling. But in terms of being any type of strong swimmer, no. No. So, I swim enough for survival. I can get on my back and kind of do like this for a while. Now, I don't know how I swim in an ocean that has a current. I'm talking about like lakes and pools I can do. Oceans have currents. I don't ever get any further than like, not even waist deep, like hip deep. I never get like further than hip deep in an ocean. Too scared. Let's see. Grace is like, separate lore. Okay. I figured. Just checking. Sarah with an H, hello. Mocha Sim says, in one of Anne Rice's novels, she connected her vampires to Atlantis. Ah, useless info, but info nonetheless. I love that, though. Because that's, wow. So at least somebody has thought of this before and published this before, even if it was just to write a book, a fun book, but still. Interesting. Very cool indeed. Never thought I would see that intersection. Oh, and yay, good news to your cousin, sir, with an H. Yay. Let's see. Maddie says, I have a friend who loves hot yoga, but I'm like, girl, my level of sweat is on another level. You look at me, be like, you're okay? My husband's the same way. Like, he is a sweaty person, just in general, he's sweaty. Like, it could be perfectly, a temperate, I would even say cold time, and he could be sweaty. And I'd be like, why are you sweating? Like, what are you doing? It could be a fine temperature and wake up and the sheets will be sweaty. I'm like, you need to get checked out, with all the sweat, you need to get checked out. It's just, he's a sweaty person. And so it's like, sometimes he'll come home from UPS where it makes sense that he would be all sweaty. And I'm telling you, when I say drenched, I mean, you could take his clothes and wring it all out if you wanted to, which I don't want to, but it's like, it takes a whole different level of upkeeping his clothes in the summer from working and stuff like that. So yeah, and no worries, there's a lot of people who sweat like that, sweat buckets and buckets in those hot yoga classes, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that as long as you rehydrate with electrolytes. So if you are rehydrating with the electrolytes and you don't have any known heat intolerances or like heart issues that are complicated by heat and stuff like that, then you just rehydrate. There's usually some form of towels and things in hot yoga studios so that people can towel up and wipe things down, and then you shower afterwards. So, plus, one of the perks that I end up liking in hot yoga, I prefer the non-heated yoga better, so I do that more often. But I do hot yoga for specific purposes. Like if I have less time to do some kind of workout or stretching, but I still want to have like a good amount of zone minutes or something on my Fitbit where it shows, a good amount of minutes with your heart rate at a certain level so that it can count as like fat burning or cardio or whatever, getting your heart to that kind of healthy exercise level, then hot yoga is good for that, because just being in the infrared heat makes your heart rate go up. And so you could literally just be doing stretches for 30 minutes and get zone points because it was hot in there and your heart was beating because it was hot. So it's like, wow, I didn't even have to like work out. All I had to do is stretch in a really hot room for 30 minutes and sweat and rehydrate with my little electrolyte water, and somehow I've got like now 30 zone minutes of workout and afterburn here calculating. So it just it works for if I'm in a time crunch and am feeling lazy and am able to shower afterwards. It works really well for that. And also, I find that I like regular workouts in morning hours more, but the hot stuff I like to do in the afternoons for kind of like slow down my pace, slow down whatever it is I'm doing, not doing a lot of exertion or anything, doing more slow, gentle stuff, but doing it in the heat and doing it later in the day, like 6 or 7 p.m., and then rinsing off when I get home. Then it feels like, okay, now all my muscles are very loose, they're warm, they're relaxed, I'm clean and showered off. Okay, now that signals my brain to start slowing it down, shutting the hell up, because bedtime hours are coming, and that's how I can kind of trick my body into realizing it's bedtime, bitch. Don't be up being like, pow, at 3 a.m., because otherwise that's exactly what my brain wants to do. Gosh. CC Create says 3i/Atlas is an interstellar object that is 1,444 feet and will be closer to the Earth on October 30th. Some people think it's just a comet and others think it might be something else. Very interesting. I had not heard of that, but that definitely is interesting. Huh. I have not made a video on that because I hadn't heard of it, but that, I mean, I feel like that could go for like Spooktober stuff too, because that's like, ooh, is it something more than a comment? Ooh. So, let's see. And yes, we are glad that your cousin is having positive results. Fabulous, fabulous. Yay, sir, with an H. And that you've got those like intuitive thoughts about that too. So that's good. That's good. Maddie talking about my husband. I feel his pain. Him and I are one. I don't understand how people wear jeans or long sleeves in the summer. I'm like, y'all wilding out here. Yes, he was at one time when he was starting to be a driver at UPS, because he had done other things at UPS like a loader and stuff like that. You have to go through a process before you can become a driver. You can't just up and become a driver. And so once he had become a driver, he's like, I'm gonna wear the long pants and the long sleeves because I don't want all those weird tan lines, because there will be people where it'll be like from this V-neck shape up, they'll have a very tan neck and head with a V-shaped line. Then they'll have their short sleeves here, where the short sleeves down they'll be tan, but above the short sleeves, within this is all white. And then, from their shorts, where their shorts end around their knees or so, to their ankles where their UPS socks start, then that would be tan, but white ankles and feet and white thighs and stuff, like worse than regular farmer tan. And so he was like, I don't want to have those tan lines. I don't want to be like that, because as a Mexican, he tans really fast and really well. Like his melanin knows what to do. And so it looks very crazy when he can tan in the summer. He can look like a totally different person. And so he was like, I don't want those tan lines. And so he was committed to wearing long sleeves and long pants to deliver packages for like 8 to 12 hours a day in our swamp ass South Carolina humid heat. Because he's over there from Mexico, Texas area where it's not humid. The humidity makes things way more hot, way more miserable over here on the East Coast in South Carolina. And so he learned very fast, I'd rather be comfortable and horribly, horribly farmer tanned all over, UPS tanned all over, than to die in the long sleeves and long pants in the summer heat. And so, yes, he still sweats it all up, and we still have to do all this crazy stuff to try to launder it all effectively, but at least he's more comfortable now. So, yeah. Poor thing. I don't know why. He's just sweaty all the time. He's just a very glistening person. And I'm like, well, the cool thing is you always look magazine model ready. You know, like when they spritz these people with water and oils, you look like that all the time. But then the bad thing is I'm running around trying to launder everything and clean everything behind your little sweaty ass. Like, my gosh. And even just giving you a peck on the peck on the lips, kiss, to say goodbye in the morning before, bye for work kind of thing. It's like, why is my upper lip wet with your sweat? It's the morning. You're leaving the house in the morning. This is the house, the air conditioner house, and you're leaving in the morning. You haven't even worked yet. Why are you sweating on my mouth? You're like, that, and now my upper lip is sweaty. And so I wipe away every kiss he kisses me, and people are like, oh, what a bitch. And it's like, I just don't want sweaty lip, I just, like, I'm not to diss him, and he knows he won't want that either. He won't want that either. Let's see. And yeah, Sir with an H is like, the 3iAtlas stuff is supposed to be alien, so very curious. That might, I do think that could be a good mini reading for us. Maddie says, I'm a firm believer in good things are to come and all will be well after all the stuff we're going through on Earth. But I'm also like, beam me up, Scotty. Yeah, glorp me up. Yep. That's funny. And yeah, the sauna summers are no joke. Yes, Sarah, North Carolina neighbor. You understand. Heather Marie says, it definitely is humid in Texas. You think it's humid in Texas until you do summer in South Carolina. It's one of those relative things that everything is relative. Humidity is relative. It's humid in Texas until you do a South Carolina summer. Now, granted, if you're like on San Padre Island or somewhere like that where it's like a Gulf kind of island in Texas, okay, I get it. You're on the Gulf. There's probably some humidity and stuff there from being on the ocean kind of thing. Like, totally get that. But as a whole, the humidity in South Carolina is a different level of beast. It's literally like you're in someone's shower and they are showering in hot water and you're standing on the end that's not getting the water, but you're in there with the steam standing in there. It just feels like that. You're just like literally on the steamy end of somebody's hot shower. It's ridiculous. The Salazar, hello. Grace Moon's like, humidity is the worst and zaps your energy as soon as you leave the door. It sure does. Maddie's like, the older I get, I'm just like, it is what it is. I mean, really. Give me the weird tan lines and everything else. I'll look a hot mess. Better a freak than a sweaty freak. Hell no. I mean, that's exactly what he's chosen. So, it's really, really funny to see his little tan lines when we go to the beach and stuff. I mean, not that we get to go to the beach very much, but like once or twice a year we might be able to get out there, and if he's all tan lined up, then it's funny. He's like, no pictures, and I'm like, okay. Oh man. And GeneXO says there are allegedly massive UFO bases in the ocean. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised anymore. Of all the things, Heather Marie's like, yeah, I live on the coast. Oh, well, okay, so then that's why. There you go. It's humid in Texas in coastal regions. I will be with you on that. Living on the coast in Texas. Because living on the coast in warm environments is living on the coast in warm environments. Yeah, coastal living means humidity. So, yes, absolutely. I am with you, Heather. Maddie says, I went to Georgia over the summer and I said, gorgeous, but this is a mistake. You keep me cracking up. Gorgeous, but this is a mistake. I mean, especially because if you are sweaty, it's kind of like, you know how they say put on like hyaluronic acid on your face because it collects the moisture from outside and it sinks it into your skin. I swear the humidity here in the southeast of the states is like that. It's like, I don't need no damn hyaluronic acid to pull the moisture in. Like, my own sweat coming out and the moisture coming in play together and compete with each other, and it's just one wet blob of soak. Like, how much more wet do you need it to be? I don't need the hyaluronic acid right now. Maybe in the winter time, sure, but not right now. Not while you can hear the cicadas. Yeah, Servant of Nature's like, I didn't know my hair could get frizzy from humidity until moving to North Carolina because you have straight hair. You're like, with straight hair, it should just be straight hair. And I have curly hair, which y'all know. So there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. Maddie's like, he's like a celebrity. No pictures. Let's see. Darren Merkin, hello. You said at work will listen tonight. Okay. Sounds wonderful. Replay crew. GNXO said, I lived in the West before and it's dry hot, but you feel like you're cooking in an oven. No, I will agree with that too. When we go to visit my husband's family in Mexico, they're on the border, like Mexico and Texas. They can cross over into the States very easily and stuff like that, because it's right there. And I say all the time, like, the heat there, it's in the valley, the Rio Grande Valley, and in the valley there, I say all the time, like, that it feels like I'm baking in an oven, because over here I'm boiling in swamp ass. But if a breeze comes along, then it's like, oh, thank God, I got help for a second. From my boiling in the swamp ass. Thank you, breeze. Please come here more. And so you want to do this with your hands and circulate the air. But when you're over there in the valley, in the RGV, doing this does not help. Because it just feels like, yeah, you're in a dry, hot place and someone just turned on a hairdryer and is blowing it at you and saying, hey, I'm giving you a breeze. Does this help? No, the fuck it does not help putting a hairdryer on me in this hot valley heat. No, it does not help. You're just being like in an oven where, like in the UK, where they're like, turn the oven on to 165 fan or whatever, and they have the fans going like on the Great British Bake Off shows or whatever, and they it's just like that. You're just fanning the hot air around. It's like blowing a hairdryer on you in the middle of the RGV. No. So yeah, I feel you on that, GNXO. I was like, oh my gosh, even the breezes are more torture. They don't save you. They're even more torture. I'm like, I don't want a breeze. Just let me bake without the breeze. It's cooking me out faster. It's like an air fryer or something. It's terrible. So yes, I feel you. Maddie says it was still hot and sticky at night. Oh, night's worse. Hot and sticky in the summer here in the South. The night is the worst, hot and sticky. Of course, yeah, you don't get away from it. It just builds over the day, because it's like in the morning you have morning dew. Then it's like gets afternoon hot, like lunchtime. Then it gets like afternoon, like 3 p.m. hot, which is extra hella hot. And then from like 3 p.m. to 7, somewhere in there, you're going to get a little rain shower every single night in the summer. Wherever you are here in the Southeast, you're going to get a little rain shower. And that rain shower doesn't cool things off. It just adds more wet to the hot. And so from then on out through the night, you just have still the heat and the wet from the little rain drizzles and rain showers adding to it. And so it's sticky as shit. Hot, wet stick. Absolutely. You're like, even at night. Oh yeah, especially at night. And that helps the mosquitoes to stick to you so they can devour you easier. Yes. He said, God, please, what have I done wrong? And people around here are like, come on, Beatrice, let's go camping. Camping my ass? I will not. I rebuke it. I rebuke it. Camping my ass. It's nothing like taking a shower in your own sweat on a regular southern summer day. Yes, Gene XO, yes. Oh, and I see you said like an air fryer? Yes, yeah. I said that and you said that. I wonder if we said it around the same time. That's funny. I just saw your comment. And yeah, Sarah with an H says, I live in the middle of North Carolina. I lived in coastal Connecticut, and it was humid too, but like a month or two tops instead of 3 to 5 months. Yeah, and if you're in North Carolina, you'd think North Carolina and South Carolina wouldn't be too much different, but they are. Somehow they are. Like, y'all get a real winter in North Carolina. You're likely to get snow in the winters, and stuff like that. Down here, like, y'all are like, oh, it's 3 to 5 months of humid over here. Over here, it's probably about 7 months of humid. And then the other 4 months are what we would consider uncomfortably cold, but that the north would be like, cold. Psh. Salazar says, and then we in San Diego complain about perfect weather 80% of the time. We are so spoiled. Y'all have complaints of perfect weather and you'll have complaints. I guess, are y'all complaining like that it's hot, or like, what are your complaints? If it's perfect weather, what are your complaints? I'm like, Maddie says, I want to visit Arizona, so I'm trying to prepare myself for the dry heat. I heard it's more tolerable than the South, kinda. I guess it depends on where you are in Arizona. There are some spots in Arizona that can get like very cold, and there are some spots in Arizona that are so hot that the UPS drivers out there, like, there have been people who have died because of delivering in the heat. And so, like, depends on where you're going. Research the area and all the stuff. And is Bodhi still crying under my desk? Okay, he has put himself, I don't know if it's going to show if I were to put, let me see if it does, if I can show him. You can kind of see the little lump right here. That's Bodhi. He has pulled a pillow off the couch, so I can't trace it around. This thing is backwards. Let's see if I go this way and this way. This is the outline of the pillow that he's on. And there he is, a lump on it, and he's still kind of complaining. Bless him. He doesn't feel very good. He's got to go to the vet on Monday to get some things checked out. Poor little boy. Let's see. Heather Marie says, I also will not go camping. High five. Same girl. My brother and his wife and their kids are all about the camping life. I need a real toilet. And, like, honestly, I just need a real toilet. Like, I hate sleeping without air conditioning, so I would prefer to sleep in an actual bed with actual air conditioning. But I could do without miserably. But that time someone made me shit in a garbage bag that was inside of a 5-gallon bucket. One of the worst times ever. And I will never forget. I will never forget it. I was about to describe. I'm not going to describe. I'll save y'all. I will never forget it. And I said then I would never do it again, and I haven't. And so I got to be a glamper. I can go glamping. I will not go camping. I will go glamping. Yes. It got really solemn in here. It got really solemn. Oh my gosh. Sarah on H says, and then all you can smell is the damp, musty earth. Yes. And y'all don't get much snow where y'all are because you're not in the mountains. Gotcha. But you do remember to stay off the road because the locals don't know how to drive in a dusting of snow. This is true. This is true. confirmed. I am a local, and I also do not know how to drive in a dusting of snow, so I just don't. I have a 4-wheel drive, though, because I'm scared. Maddie was like, Maddie said, I was like, I got to explore more than the AC of my Airbnb, so I would go out when I thought it would be cooler, and it just never ended. No, baby, it will not end. No, Georgia and anything summertime, and when I say summertime in Georgia, I mean the end of March through the middle of December. Okay, so if you want it to be different in Georgia, go around Christmas up until the middle of March. It's about a 3-month window you got there that you can do things differently in Georgia. Have it feel different. Any of the other times, you're liable to run into the same issue. What are you used to originally? If you're comfortable with saying, like, where you live now, you don't have to, like, say any details or anything. And you don't have to say anything at all. But just, like, so that our brains can compare how, you went to Georgia and experienced this, but this is what you're used to, is this other thing over here, if you're okay with saying. Mocha Sim says, I'd give camping a try, but I'm unsure how much I'd like it. I might enjoy it if beer is involved. You know what? There was alcohol there. That's not enough to help me enjoy it. I'm not a big alcohol person. I think I would be if I wasn't such a sensitive. Like, being sensitive enough to be able to pull tarot cards and all this kind of stuff, it's what helps me do my job here. But then it fucks me up on everything else. I'm too sensitive for caffeine, too sensitive for alcohol, too sensitive for regular medications, too sensitive for certain types of clothing, too sensitive for certain types of water in certain people's showers, too sensitive for XYZ, you name it, stupid shit. And so I'm too sensitive to do well with alcohol, so that wouldn't even be able to sweeten the pot for me. I would need something else, and I don't even know what else would do. So I just avoid. And Grace Moon says, I can't camp as well. I live in a tropical country. Mosquito bites, nope. Yeah. I hate being sprayed to death with mosquito sprays, because then you feel gooey and gross, like you're so unclean and there's nothing you can do. And what if you have an itch in your contacts? Well, you don't want to put your hands in your eyes. You have mosquito repellent all over you. You're going to burn your eyes out. So it's just real bad. Maddie said, I went to a marsh park thing. Oh no, you went to a marsh park. That's the worst possible way you could go if you don't want to deal with swamp ass and bugs. Oh, no. You went to a marsh park thing for a hike and saw people camping, and I was like, damn, y'all built different. Love camping, but I don't know if I could in the South. I'll answer that for you. You probably could not in the South if you were having those issues just leaving your Airbnb. I don't camp in the South, and I am totally acclimatized here. I've literally lived in the South for almost 40 years. I will not camp in the South. Unless it's a matter of necessity. Or unless I'm going to get a lot out of it. Like if somebody paid me enough or, bribed me enough with something that mattered to me, perchance I could do a night. All right, so hold on. I need to write these things down because now I've got so many different. Now I've talked so long. I haven't done any mini readings, and I've talked so long, and I see that the next comment is Lisa bringing up a good question, saying people want to know if they should leave this country based on the 50-year video. Can you please ask if there's a better country to live in? So let me just write leave U.S. ? Better country ? Okay, and then we were going to ask about time, but it seems like Gene XO kind of had the scientific rationale there. So now I don't know how time works, though. It could still be, I'm going to write that one down, because that one is still a bit different than the whole why does it feel like it's accelerating, because Gene XO answered that with the whole world tilt thing. And then there was also, y'all said 3i/Atlas, and then Comet or aliens, question mark, was also another question that we raised here, that could be Spooktober-ish. And then Grace had also said potential for exploring Atlantis and so Atlantis lore, and then also vampire lore. I'm just writing these down because we will have today's live stream and the next live stream, both of them in October. And so it seems like everybody's kind of open to the idea of doing like we did last year and the year before. I know we've done it for at least 2 years. We might have done it for more, but for at least 2 years, our live streams in October have been dedicated to kind of Spooktober live streams, where we have used the mini readings to ask, spooky questions or anything that could even be like, ooh, this is different, this is weird, this is out there kind of thing, out there stuff. And it seems like people are amenable to doing that again this year. So this live stream and the next live stream will be working off of that. And I just wanted to, start having some of these on the list. So whatever we don't get to today, it's still on the list for a potential for next time as well. So thank you for reminding me of that question, Lisa. And hello to you. And LGGG, hello to you. And you just joined in at shit in a garbage bag. Somebody joined in at, I think it was Maddie that joined in at playing with their piss. And you joined in at shit in a garbage bag. I'm telling you, this live stream's just been off the rails, and it's my fault completely. And I'm just in rare form today. Well, I can't say I'm in rare form today. I'm in usual form today. This is how I often am. I just usually can hold it together and do better on live streams and videos than I can right now. Right now, I'm just being like how I normally am, sitting at home on the couch with my husband and my sister and stuff like that. And I'm just, I am unable to hold up, not a mask, because I'm never really masked with y'all. I'm just on better behavior. I'm able to stay focused better and on point better, and just able to do the thing that I got to do professionally and have fun while I'm at it. And this is a total off-duty bitch today for whatever reason. It's Friday, and this is mango electrolytes. Gosh. Where am I at? Lisa says, March through December in Arizona, too. Okay, well, there you go, Maddie. There's your answer, at least in certain parts of Arizona. Like I said, I know there's some parts of Arizona that's the climate's very different and can get very cold. But, okay, so you're from Ohio. Yeah. I mean, Ohio, you can handle winters way better than I could. You could handle winters. You're not like, snow, what do I do? You're like, oh, it snowed again, So there's things that you could handle that us down here that are used to swamp ass could never. You know the ropes. Snow and ice, you're like, okay, let me make this my bitch. This is how you handle it. This is what you do. And not for me. So give yourself credit. You can handle your things well. I can handle my things well. And we'll have to help each other out on the in-betweens because, yeah. He said, you're not built for much else. I think I might go to St. Augustine in December for the Festival of Lights and try Georgia again on the way. Went to Virginia too, and it wasn't as bad. Yeah, I get that Virginia, technically speaking, is still the South. Most of us don't think of Virginia as the South. Here in South Carolina, I don't think of Virginia as the South. Georgians and Alabamians and probably North Carolinians don't think of Virginia as the South. that's flirting with Yankee territory for us here, that's, we don't really consider that the South. So for it to not be as bad, there's a reason, because it ain't Southern, honey. It ain't Southern up there. That's what we're going I know technically it is, but we ain't going to think of it that way. But St. Augustine in December for Festival of Lights sounds pretty magical. That sounds really nice. I'm sure that would be a nice time. And seeing Georgia around then would probably be nice too. There's a lot of cool, like if you're going in December for Festival of Lights, there's some Georgia, like small town Georgia cities that have a lot of Christmassy things going on, because they were places where, those like super cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies that they make every year, and they're all the damn same. A lot of those have been filmed in these small Georgia towns, and so they're kind of like, overly Christmassy during those seasons, and a lot of people will come and visit because of that. So like, for example, Helen, Georgia, just like the name Helen. If you look that up, I know it's nowhere near St. Augustine, Florida, but it is a really cool, different type of town, and they go all out around Christmas. So Christmas lights, Christmas music. They've got, they hire Christmas musicians and stuff to play kind of Christmas music in the square. They have Christmas shops specifically. The buildings look like old Germantown buildings with like the Tudor style, that's like white with the brown framing and stuff around it, like old Tudor style. Lots of German influence and stuff there. It's nestled in the mountains in a very pretty area with lots of cool sightseeing. In December, you would have missed like the leaves changing color and all that kind of stuff. So it might look a little bit more bleak, but it's still something like magical about it. And it's really, really close to some, like Native American and Indigenous peoples land, that has some cool stuff around that. So there's a lot of Christmassy, aspects to the areas like those and Dahlonega in Georgia, if you were wanting to do Christmas specific stuff, since you're talking about the Festival of Lights. So those are worth seeing and experiencing once, kind of thing. And I'm sure there's other spots too. Those are just the ones that I happen to know about. But yeah, nice ideas. Let's see. Lisa says, what's a marsh park? And Sarah with an H says, a marsh park is asking to get bit by a tick. Asking to get bit by a whole hell of a lot. But yeah, let me see if anybody's answered that, so that if I answer it, I won't be copying. I bet a lot of people have already answered that. I don't know. People probably have already answered it, but I'm already so behind on the comments. I'm going to answer it too. So if somebody answers it already, I'm so sorry. It's basically like a nature reserve or a nature park, that's usually, some kind of a way blocked off from people doing any kind of developments or, changing it by human hands and means and stuff. It's just like, here is a big nature ecosystem where the ecosystem can ecosystem, and so you can go in and you can hike and you can camp and stuff like that, but you're not going to be, doing anything to it like a heritage state park might be or something like that. You can't do things to it. And marshland is very muddy because it's wet. So think, Lisa, if you remember the Brian Laundrie situation from years ago, that he murdered his fiance Gabby Petito, and he went into the marsh and hid, and all of that area is kind of like a marsh park type of thing. And so it's just marshlands of, lots of vegetation and trees and, very green, slimy ponds and lily pads and algae and, frogs and snakes and gators and ticks and fleas and just gnats and mosquitoes and no-see-ums and all kinds of shit out there, just nature doing its thing, and you can hike in it. so you can get away from everything, get away from people and stuff. But it is swampy. It smells like fart. And it's itchy and it's hot and sweaty, and it special people like to go in places like that, and I tend to not be one of the special people, because I am a curmudgeon. Let's see. And then Mish, hello to you. And you are also saying a mini reading about the 3iAtlas thing, saying it's a spaceship on its way to Earth. And so, yes, I have written that down here. CC Creates had that idea as well. So thank you for seconding that, because I agree that could be a really good idea, and it fits into the Spooktober thing. Like, ooh, is it aliens or not? You know, that kind of a thing. So I have that down. And then, yeah, GeneXO is saying about the time thing, like, yeah, there's lots of videos about time speeding up since 2020 because Earth has broken records for the shortest days ever recorded. June 29th, 2022 was 1.59 milliseconds shorter than usual. Very interesting. Let's see. 3iAtlas is a mysterious object that has so much speculation around it. I wonder if it's fear porn. You know, honestly, you never know these days. It really could be. It really could be. Maddie says, I was hoping to see gators on my hike, but also terrified. I kept talking out loud. Like, don't pop out and get me. I'm friendly. Please spare me. The gators are going to be more scared of you. So they are going to hide. I guarantee you were somewhere close to gators. I guarantee they were somewhere around there hiding. But they don't want you to come up on them. You know, people get scared of them, and there's good reason why. We should have a healthy respect for them, but really they don't want to attack people. They don't want to have to do that. They would be doing that only if they felt like we were getting in their way, or, you know, challenging them or something like that, you know. Just like how we talk about with bears or any other kind of thing. It's just like, don't back them into a corner and they won't fuck with you. And don't be getting into the murky, marshy ponds either, because then you're just asking for it too. So, you know, common sense. Let's see. Maddie says, there was hella bugs. The deet was not deeting. The deet was not deeting. I love nature and hikes, and I knew it would be hard, but I learned a lot that day. Yeah. Honestly, the bugs are like one of the worst things for me. Like, I hate the heat. I'm used to it. I can take it. I hate the whole swamp ass humidity and wetness. I'm used to it. I can take it. The bugs, I just cannot. I cannot, because the idea of just feeling one, all right, feeling two, all right. But when every few seconds you're having to, like that, then I just start to get way overstimulated and just irate. And then not only am I overstimulated and irate, but my body is like super histamine intolerant because I'm sensitive, as we talked earlier. And so I blow up in all these big, huge, horrible, itchy hives, and, you know, can't breathe as well and stuff like that, like having a whole allergic reaction over it. And so that's where I end up having to draw the line. And they're out there because they got to live somewhere, and that's their home. And, you know, fine, that's fair. But you're right. The deet ain't deetin', okay? I know people like, oh, this is what keeps them away. Bitch, maybe in the winter in Rochester, New York, but not in the summer down here. They're like, oh, look at this, you brought some candy. You know, they don't care. That it don't deter them worth shit. LGG says, I definitely need some context. Lord, I don't even know which part. I don't know which part. We've talked about so many different parts. I don't even know about. Oh, shitting in the bag? Was that it? Happened once and never again, man. People made me camp. Ugh, people made me camp. Okay, and then Gene XO with a true crime question about if Charlie Kirk was kind of like another JFK inside job type thing. So let me write that down. Okay, the dogs just went barking out with their business. They just went barking out with, they got business now, apparently. Business. I wrote it down, GNXO, I wrote it down. Iana95, hello. Lisa is also laughing at the deep wasn't deeding. Let's see. Where am I? Let's see. And GNXO said it just came out that there might be another false flag event in the U.S. potentially by BB. Could you check on that too? And I've heard these words going around, but I don't know what they mean. Like false flag, I've heard that word before. I don't know what it means. I should by now with the kinds of readings that I've done, but I don't. But that's a good question, and I can always look it up right over here. But false flag, so false flag in U.S. and possibly by BB question mark. Okay. Wrote it down. Lisa is dittoing that. Maddie's like, Lisa, the deet lied to me. Any more catastrophic natural events that can be happening this year? So, any more catastrophic events? Or natural disaster events in 2025? Question mark. Good question. Very good. Because GNXO says, I've been having really dark visions and dreams about things to come for the past month, and things keep happening. So, yeah, any kind of premonition dreams can be freaky. Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, and it was 222 a little while ago. Over there I know for people in Central Time. I've been talking for an hour and 12 minutes over here. Good God, and we haven't even done a damn reading yet. I know I need to. I will. I'm going to catch up on the comments, and then I'm going to choose one of these to do at least one mini reading so that we'll have at least one that we look into today. At least one. Graceman is like, special people. Lisa's, oh, hell to the no. Candy V, hello. You said people actually enjoy hiking in places like that? My goodness, not my choice. There are some people. Yeah. I'm not one of the people. I'm not one of those people. Maddie says, Candy, it was not my favorite hiking experience, but I said when in Rome or in Georgia in this case, do as the Romans do, right? But you said it's cool to see a new environment. And yeah, it's like, I agree. I would do that too. Like, I would be like, okay, I'm going to do the things that are about the area because I don't want to say I didn't try. I don't want to say I didn't see what it was all about. But I'm going to be able to be honest with myself if I was like, okay, I checked that off my list and I'm glad that I did it. It was an experience I had. Check. Don't have to repeat it. Don't have to do that one again. So, but one cool thing about it is if you did go more at like dusk / nighttime, probably around 8 or 9 p.m., which, only do it if you're kind of close to where you would find your car and get out of there. But if you did it like that, you would probably see a whole lot of lightning bugs, fireflies, or whatever. So they love those kinds of areas, and you can see hundreds and hundreds, and that's pretty magical. That's pretty cool. So it's cool to see that for a little while, and then you get the fuck out of there before you get bit all up by the squiddas, the squiddas. Let's see. And Sarah with an H says, I heard 3iAtlas is just aliens, good aliens, keeping an eye on us, making sure we don't nuke ourselves. GeneXO says it's a comet, and then has, this comet is notable for its hyperbolic orbit, which confirms its origin from outside our solar system and its high speed. It poses no threat to Earth and will reach its closest point to the sun on October 30th, 2025, before continuing its journey back into interstellar space. So, that's what science says about the 3iAtlas. I can still look into if there's any kind of ET component to it if people are wanting me to do that, but apparently that's what science says about it. So, thank you for sharing that. Laura Luke, hello. And Mocha Sim says, oh, that's a good one, Gina, about Kirk. I also heard that his wife was involved in some shady business in Romania. Maybe you can add that to the Kirk reading. Shady business in Romania? Where did I put the Kirk thing? Okay. Wife, business in Romania? Question mark. These are some wild things, man. Let's see. Maddie says, I take accountability for getting us off topic. Sorry, y'all. My brain, okay? Like I said, my brain today is just doing what it does. And we're not going to blame anybody in the chat for the fact that I can't get to doing a reading before we've been live for like basically an hour and a half. Nobody is at fault for that but my brain. You have just helped the conversation be fun and vibrant today, Maddie. And we all appreciate it. And Sarah with an H says, Mocha Sims, I get some weirdness from Erica. She whisper repeats words when she's lying. I have noticed that she whisper repeats words a lot. I've only seen, I only watched the one thing from her where she did like the first time she speaks after the passing of her husband, she breaks her silence and speaks. Like that little speech I watched her do, and she was whisper repeating words a lot. I don't know about, whether it was about lying or not. I don't know, but I did notice she was a whisper repeater a lot. And I was like, every other word she's saying, she's whisper repeating, but then she speaks loud, and then she whisper repeats again, and then she speaks loud. And I'm like, this is confusing me. I'm having a hard time like following how she speaks. But that was just I've never heard anybody talk like that before, so it took me some time to kind of get used to it. I was like, Maddie says, girl, you will not catch me in a marsh at night. That's when the gators get you. All the lightning bugs will be pretty though. I'll do a drive-by. Drive-by is a good idea. You're funny. You're cracking me up. Oh man. And Grace Moon is saying, yeah, really creepy. That lady, the receipts online were so bad. Oh, God. So there's receipts. Oh, hell. I haven't seen any of this stuff. I do not know. And Lisa says that 50-year reading has me needing a reading, B. Okay, yep. I mean, if y'all know how to reach me if you ever need me or want me. Yep. Valley Girl, hello. And you're like, LOL. I don't know which thing. We have too many funny things happening in here. Let's see. Doing a reading on the 3iAtlas would be interesting. Loving anything alien, but haven't followed this one too closely. So again, GNXO was pointing out that the science is pretty sure that it's a comet, but we don't know if that means that there's no alien anything involvement in it. Who knows? It could still be worth looking into to see, is there anything up with that that's different than what we know already? Like, science knows these certain things. Is there anything else that we don't yet know about it that we could know or should know? Let's see. He said, well, thank you, B. I'm glad to have kept it fun and lively. Well, you have, Maddie. And GNXO says everything about the entire, we're not allowed to use the word, but, Kirk words doesn't make a lot of sense to you. So, interesting. And then LGGG says, yeah, I'm not one to judge how anyone grieves, but her speeches have felt like bad acting auditions from the start. Oh, interesting. Yeah, see, I don't know about, again, like the acting or not, or the lying or not, but I just have felt like, well, it's weird to talk like that. And I mean, maybe people talk like that. People probably think how I talk is weird. It's just I wasn't used to it. So it took me a little bit to get through that speech. And I haven't watched anything that she's done since that. I just watched that. Sarah says, have you ever seen the sitcom The Middle? The youngest child on that show did the same whisper repeating words when lying. Oh, I haven't heard of The Middle. Lord, I don't know. What I do know is we've been live for an hour and 20 minutes. I haven't done a single mini reading yet. I haven't done the giveaway yet. So I need to do both things. And so I've got a list of all these ideas that we've been jotting down here. And I think that I will choose a couple to do some mini readings on. And we will see where that takes us and then do some giveaway stuff. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and pull up the cards over here and move this microphone right here. And since we've talked a lot about this, where do I have it? 3iAtlas thing. And GeneXO is saying, it's scientifically, they are pretty sure it is a comet, and they have described some things about it and its trajectory and what to expect. Other people are wondering if there's some alien stuff going on with it. So let's look into that, because that's a little bit out there, which makes sense for a Spooktober type of mini reading. So I say, let's look into that. There's been enough people writing about it in the comments that it seems like there's enough interest on that. I haven't heard about it until today. I didn't even know how to pronounce it until y'all helped me with that. So hopefully I won't say anything that shows my level of ignorance on this, but let's look into it, why don't we? So, I'm going to get shuffled up here, and as I do, angels, archangels, light beings surrounding me now, spirit of Gaia and my higher self, please assist me in the sacred co-creative process of pulling cards for the highest good of all sentient kind. Please allow me to pull the most accurate cards and to read them in the most accurate ways for the highest good of all, please. Please protect me in this and help me to vibrate higher, 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 and higher for the highest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Mwah. Let's see. And a big, deep, resetting sigh. That feels good. All right. So, that felt restorative. It felt resetting. It felt like we're ready. So, let's see here. Okay, on the subject of this 3iAtlas thing, we have what science is saying that it is. First of all, let's just confirm here, if we're looking at, like, yeah, this looks like it's a comet or whatever, and that there's a certain orbit that it's going in, and that it doesn't look like it's a threat to Earth in that kind of a way, like, comet stuff, just seeing what we can see about that science aspect of it before we dig into the little alien aspect of it. Okay, so with this, it looks like they're showing our King of Cups in reverse, Hangman also in reverse technically, and then the Nine of Swords in reverse. So with all of these things coming up in this way, I don't necessarily have reason to believe that, quote unquote, science has it wrong. It just does seem like maybe there is more to it, because this is kind of like when we have our Hangman card, especially in reverse, that's this kind of extended wait, an extended observation, an extended period of something, so that there's this sense like, hey, there's more, to observe about this. There's more going on to this, than meets the eye or whatever. There's this kind of like, hold on, wait, pause for a second. There's more to this. With these cards in reverse, I can see people being anxious and worried about it, but I don't necessarily know that the anxiety and worry are needed because of them being in the reverse. I think I would be, if this was upright, I would certainly be more concerned with that being in reverse. I'm a little less so. So I would say that, like, if the scientists are pretty sure this is a comet and stuff like that, I don't necessarily disagree with it being a comet, but this Hangman in reverse really does give this sense that there's something more to be observed about this, or there's something more to take a look at or to learn from this. So that's what I kind of want to dig into, I guess, this idea of there being something more with that. So let's see what they mean by that, just to get a little bit of extra context here. Okay, World card upright, Two of Pentacles upright, Emperor card upright. So World card upright is a bit of a twofer, because in one way, it's like, okay, we're talking about the world here. But in another way, we're talking about orbit here because we're in this little circular type of thing. And then I think even in another way, so maybe threefer here, we can kind of be talking about the fact that something is like coming full circle here in a symbolic way, gaining some more understanding, tying some loose ends together, things like that. And this card being a card about switch ups makes me feel like there is more to this than what we may know, and even what, like, okay, how do I put this? I don't necessarily think that it's like, oh, the government knows more about this and it's just not telling us. I think it's like, no, there's more to this and even they don't freaking know. It seems like they're probably not in the know in that kind of a way, because with the Emperor card coming upright, this is a card that sometimes comes up for like Trump and government and officials and stuff like that. It coming up upright, if it was like this, I'd be like, oh, they know something and they're lying to us, but it's not. It's in the upright position, so I don't think that they know something and they're lying to us. I think that there's things that they don't know. There's things that people don't know about space. And with this, the change up thing, what gets me about that, and I don't know very much about the cosmos, about astronomy, cosmology, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how to describe what's coming in my head. But like what's coming in my mind is like, okay, I'm trying to describe this. What they're showing me, I'm showing like, I'm seeing like things doing their orbits. Like this one does this, and this one does this, and this thing does this. And, they all do their little paths or whatever. It's what they do. But what it's showing me is something that is a little bit off its normal path, or like out of its usual scope, or like crossing beyond its usual bounds in a way that feels like a bit of a switch up here. So how do I put this? It feels like there's something universal or like space associated that I don't understand, but it has to do with like why things in space behave the way they do and do the things they do and are on the paths of the way they do and stuff like that. And there's something that feels like it has shifted a bit, and so it's not on its usual path, or it's going outside its usual scope, or it's doing things beyond its usual thing, as if something in space shifted or changed, or as if no, it's that. It's like as if something in space shifted or changed, but I don't really know what that would mean because I don't know about space stuff. It's not like oh, okay, am I going to have to draw this? I don't know because okay, actually let me try. Let me see if this shows. So, I'll see if this shows. So, let's see. You know, we have this circle and it's like, oh, it usually does this. And I'm seeing that instead of do this, it's not like, oh, now it's doing this and going there. No, it seems more like it was doing this and now it's doing this, you know, like that kind of thing. Like as if it changed from this kind of a path to that kind of a path or something. And again, it doesn't mean like specifically it went from a circular orbit to an oval orbit. Like, I don't mean like taking that literally. I mean just thinking about like this is its usual path. And so all the other things that usually have these paths, they fit together. But if something started doing this, then now this circle overlaps with this path. And so that's different. And it was because of how something shifted or changed into space. And it feels like whatever the space shift or change, like all I can see in my mind is like this expansion, this spreading. So kind of like if this is such a weird way to explain it, but this is what I'm getting in my head. I'm so sorry. It's weird. But like, let's pretend there's a woman who has a tattoo on her stomach and then she gets pregnant and it starts expanding and stretching out of its place. You know, that's what they're kind of showing me in this universal sense of like what the universe is doing. It's like this warping, expansion, extension, kind of something like that. So I cannot say that I understand what that means. I can't say that I understand what they're telling me here. All I can do is interpret what I'm getting and say it in hopes that it means something to somebody. And so they can, you know, give us the dummies for 101 here in the comments. Because I don't get that. So, but whatever they're showing me about it doesn't feel scary. None of these cards have felt scary. So it's not something that I feel freaked out about Earth. At least not in our lifetimes. It just feels like something is weird, different. And like, so maybe because of them being off of these little paths and stuff, there could be some sort of a collision point with something like, you know, a comet hitting an asteroid or something at some point, or I don't know, stuff like that where things break off and can fly around. And so maybe there's things like that could happen and you could end up with debris fields or something, but they're not like, I'm not seeing something that's freaking me out about it in that kind of a sense. This is really hard to explain because I'm just describing what I'm seeing, but I don't really know how to explain what that means other than to just say what I'm looking at here. Let me see if anybody has written anything in the comments about it that could help it make sense, or if I should just pull another little set. Let's see, where did I leave off? I think it was Gene XO saying on September 17th of this year, Congressman Tim Burchett said that there are 5 or 6 hidden deep sea bases off the U.S. coast, and a U.S. Navy admiral said a UFO the size of a football field moved hundreds of miles per hour in the deep ocean. Okay, well, what? Wow. And GeneXO says there's also talks of CERN having opened a portal for 11 minutes. Okay. Grace, about the question about being off course. Hopefully my little shitty drawing helped with that. I don't know. Something shifting in space is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. And I'm like, I don't know how to describe it. Like the space itself, like the emptiness itself. So I'm like, So let's see. It makes me think how when someone else in the chat said something about Earth shifting and tilting, maybe something happened in the cosmos too, like a ripple effect thing. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. Thankfully, hello. And you said, hi everyone in B, I'm late here. I've heard that the 3iAtlas is friendly and here to help our world, but I've heard that there is something supposed to happen soon, maybe with our banks. Interesting. And okay, so I think I've got caught up on those. So in that case, now that we've looked at these things, I'm going to just see, okay, so since there seems to be something changing or expanding or in ways that I don't fully understand, then universally, is there some sort of alien connection to this thing? Like, again, at the beginning, they didn't necessarily disagree with the idea of, like, it being a comet. So, you know, no disagreement with kind of what GeneXO was sharing about the science with it, but just seeing in some kind of ways that we may not understand. Is there some kind of an ET correlation here or anything about ETs pertaining to this damn thing? This 3iAtlas thing. Okay, so from what I'm getting here, not specifically, like, not directly. So, in other words, you know, the people card, which I know aliens aren't people, but, you know, the symbolism here, because they don't have cards with, like, literal aliens on them and stuff. But, you know, that kind of a thing coming up in reverse here feels like no, it's not like a spaceship, or no, it's not like this is, you know, a home that the aliens live on, like how we live on Earth, or, you know, something like that. It doesn't feel like it directly has anything to do with aliens in that respect. But with kind of how these cards are, that doesn't necessarily rule out anything else that could pertain to them. So let's say, you know, when we think about Earth, we don't necessarily first and foremost think about it as alien planet, but we think of aliens as being associated with Earth, and that we think of aliens maybe having visited Earth, or maybe having been spotted, you know, in our atmosphere or in our oceans, as GeneXO was explaining, or things like that, you know. So there could be something here that feels like whatever is kind of around us can also be around the 3iAtlas thing. And so it's like, as we have been explored, it could have been explored. So there seems to be like that it is known, in terms of what we could call alien or whatever, that it could be known, but not necessarily inhabited by or used as a ship or something directly, if that makes sense with these three reversals. And yeah, with these cups cards coming up in reverse, yeah, with the cups cards coming up in reverse, usually cups cards are emotional things, and so for them to come up in reverse, and what do we mean? Why are we getting reverse emotions cards here? Another reversal of emotions cards here. And then our balance card. So yeah, they're making me feel like whatever kind of exploration that has been done on this thing, or in whatever way this thing has been observed and or used by anything alien or whatnot, in any way there's some kind of alien overlap with the thing, the emotional card keeps up coming in reverse, and in all three of these, and our overall balance card is what comes out on top of everything. So it feels like it's that anything associated with, like, anything extraterrestrial or interdimensional or, you know, whatever, alien that is associated with this thing or is aware of this thing or has done anything to this thing, 3iAtlas, that it is not something like us, where we are very emotional beings. We are very social beings. It doesn't feel like they are that same way. They are just the balance. So it's like things just are. What we would say, this is good and this is bad, they would be like, these things just are. This is a part of the balance. You know, that they don't think of it in those terms, that everything is just in some sort of a balance. So it's really hard to describe, because we're trying to describe with human language about like human emotional and mental attributes. But this stuff doesn't seem to have human emotional and mental attributes. So it doesn't think things the same way or feel things the same way. So using these words for it doesn't make sense. It just is. There's just a balance. Everything is neutrality. Shit, man. This is supposed to be a mini reading. This is hard. I'm going to cross this one off the list. It's a comet. There's some sort of alien, something association with it. It just is. And I don't feel afraid for Earth. That's how I boiled it. That's how I boiled it down. Oh man, that's what I get on it. And again, that's if I've interpreted this correctly. This is such a mind fuck, a mind bend, because again, we're going outside of the scope of human understanding and trying to explain it with human words and human mental and emotional concepts, which isn't a thing there. So I think anybody who tries to read this is going to struggle with getting it the way that it's probably meant to be coming out. I'm doing the best I can with it. I'm trying. Let me see what the comments have said here so far. Let's see. Lisa says, can you ask, will feel anything on Earth as a result of this? Like, I'm not worried about Earth looking at this. It doesn't freak me out about Earth necessarily. Like, there's plenty other things that concern me about Earth before this thing seems to. Maddie says, also makes me think of Elphaba from Wicked singing, there's something that's changed within me. Yeah, something has changed within me. Something I can't explain. Let's see. GeneXO says, there was an explosion at a military explosives facility in Tennessee earlier today. Wow. 19 people are missing. Uh-oh. Could you check and see if this is intentional or an accident? Jesus Christ. So, let me write this down. Tennessee military explosion. Intentional. Accidental. Okay, I'm writing that down. Man, we got a lot of questions here. I don't know how many we'll be able to get through today because I talked so long. We're already at 1 hour and 45 minutes. And y'all know I don't like to make these too long so that the replay crowd won't be like, what the fuck? You know, I want them to still be able to watch. But, yikes. Sarah with an H, because aliens have a different perspective than humans. I guess so. I mean, It's kind of like, I mean, technically think about it this way. Let's pretend aliens were like ants. Do they think the way we do? Do they feel the way we do? Do they have the same perspective and views that we do? Did their brains even work the same way ours do? Do they, conceptualize in the same way? Would they explain or describe things the same way? Would they function the same way and it mean the same things that we mean when we do the same thing? No, it would be completely different. And so trying to interpret something for them from a human perspective doesn't make sense. You'd have to do it from an ant perspective, which would be hard if you're not one. You know what I mean? That's where I'm getting hung up here. It's kind of like that. I don't know why that's the way it made me describe it. That's the way it made me describe it. Blake Tisdale, hello. Let's see, Maddie said, I've heard the theory emotions is a unique thing to humans and Earth, and it's a way we experience consciousness or something like that. Interesting. Lisa's like, we could go for 6 hours, B. I probably could too. I don't know. I mean, I'd be getting more and more ridiculous by the minute, but yeah. Blake Tisdale says, the 50-year reading really helped me because I was raised to fear the end times and all that junk. So I feel like I'm able to live. Oh, bless your heart. Yeah, things are rough. And technically nobody ever knows when the end is, I don't think Spirit's going to tell me when that is, but I think that they also would not bother to let me do a 50-year reading if everything was over before 50 years, They definitely give me like closed doors when I'm reaching things that I'm not allowed to know more about. Sarah with an H. They observe us like we're in a zoo. They probably do. Shit. Thankfully says, please ask if there will be a collapse of our banking system / stock market if you have time. I think I've done some banking and videos and things like that on the channel. I don't know when the last one I've done, but I have covered 5 years out, 10 years out, or things like that, or in the next few years or stuff like that. So I can't remember exactly which ones, but I do know I have some banking ones on there in case you didn't know. You may have known already, but in case you didn't, just throwing it out there. Let's see. GeneXO says, I think aliens would have the same communication style as our spirit guides, no emotions and blunt. Maybe so. Shit. Mokusin says, I have to watch the 50-year reading. I was a bit scared. Understandable. There was some rough stuff in there, and there were also some silver linings in there. So, a little bit of bad with the good with the bad, just like how we have these days, So, fair. CC Creates says, even scientists have said there's something off about this object. Really? Ha, interesting. I'm like, there's something off about it. I'm like sitting here trying to doodle for y'all. I'm like, doodling. And I'm like, I don't know. This is what I'm seeing. I don't know what it means, but I know this is what I'm seeing. I'll doodle. Gosh. Oh, and Maddie's saying that there's things about an order or law that's been signed for massive amounts of land and wildlife in Alaska to be mined and have highways built through parks all the way through to the Arctic Circle and whatnot. What the hell? Lord of mercy. We gotta slow down with all this ambition that we have as a human race. My Lord, sometimes we need to leave some things alone, like the marshlands. Oh, gosh. Okay, let me pull these up. And let's make time for one more mini reading so that we can say we did 2 mini readings today. And then we'll save this list for our next live stream and we will do the giveaway pool for people. Because the replay crew is going to be fed up with me if I don't, end this within a reasonable amount of time. Because we've been going for 1 hour and 48 minutes. So let's see. Of the things that I have written down here, okay, any more catastrophic national disaster events in 2025? Good question. We technically have time beyond October to look into that, so I'm gonna pause that one for just right now. Atlantis lore and vampire lore, good questions. Also could maybe wait till the next time because it doesn't seem like those are, necessarily time limited to look into. The Tennessee military explosion, if TN stood for Tennessee, when GNXO was writing it, that might be more time limited, so that one might be for the next one. How time works, that can be on another day. The Charlie Kirk stuff looks like it could honestly be a bigger thing, maybe even its own video, because there's also stuff in here with people wondering about his wife and Romania and things like that. So that seems like that would be hard to do in a mini reading. That seems like that's kind of loaded. False flag in the US might be a bit loaded as well. Whether it's best to leave the US, is there a better country to leave to? That one, I feel like we probably could find a way to do that in a mini reading, but I don't know if it's as time sensitive today as this military explosion thing is. But we might be able to mini read that one on the next one, possibly. Because that one I wouldn't want to rush, obviously, if it's people worried about if they should leave the country and then where to, that's kind of a big question, and certainly don't want to rush that because I want to, I want to try to be in the best position to try to be as most helpful as I can with that question. So I think in terms of our list of things, the one that seems to be the most like, hey, today, let's figure this out, is this military explosion thing where there's 19 missing people and just trying to see if this was intentional or accidental. So, let's take a look at that. If we see if that looks kind of more intentional or more or more accidental. This thing popped out down here, and then this one is like this on my leg. So upright or reverse. That's sideways, but it is more like that. So we'll take it like that. Okay, so with 3 reversals already, it gives me a little bit more of a feeling of accidental than intentional. I know you would think intentional is bad, so it would be in reverse. But here we have 7 of Cups in reverse and 3 of Cups in reverse, 2 Cups cards. And, Cups are so emotional. It's just kind of like this is an emotional mixed bag. And this is, an emotional kind of loss. So to me, that feels more accidental, especially if the Justice card is coming here and things are off balance. Then it's like, oh shit, this something got out of whatever balance it was supposed to do. Like we're supposed to do these things this way, and somehow it got out of balance and something happened, and these are like heavy hearts about it. So it feels more accidental, but I guess technically, if we're going to play devil's advocate here about it, things can get off balance and be heavy emotionally if there's something that happened that I struggle to use the word intentional, but like, how do I put this? Okay, so let's say, this is a whole separate scenario. I'm just trying to come up with something else that can help with this, but totally separate. Let's say, you're at work and you're doing the thing and blah, 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 and things are just happening and building and you're getting more frustrated and more distraught and whatever. And then finally you snap and you say something. It wasn't intentional for you to snap. You didn't mean to snap. You didn't want to snap. It wasn't a deep thought out plan to snap. You just did. And things happened. That technically would be seen, like if you got arrested for whatever you did, that would be seen as you did an intentional act, because you could have stopped yourself or whatever, but you lost your damn mind and, made decisions out of high emotions when you lost your mind or something like that. So there's that sense of a loss of control, which some could see as intentional. But if we're being really technical about it, it's an accident. That's kind of the flavor I'm getting here, is like there looks like there's possibly an argument to be made about intentionality, but I wouldn't, or the guides wouldn't necessarily call it intentional, because it's more like a snap moment or something, more like something that lost its even keeled balance and it happened. So it seems like there's supposed to be a certain order. That order got disturbed, and this kind of stuff happened, and there's a lot of emotions whirling around about it. So I think it's one of those really weird on the fence kind of things that people could debate it as calling it intentional. But from this perspective, they're not wanting to call this intentional. It would be more accidental because it was not something like pre-planned, all of that kind of a thing. It's like, I didn't want for this to happen. It feels more like a something got out of line, and it was a snap thing that happened. I don't know how to explain that other than that. So I hope that makes sense. I tried to draw some parallels to kind of paint the picture a little bit better. So let me see if any of y'all comments can add to any of that, or what I've missed. What have I missed? Where am I? Oh, Lisa's saying the replay crew can fast forward. Oh, man. Yeah, and cards telling us for the collective, Alaska could be a mini reading. U.S. could be safer than Europe in the next 2 years. GeneXO says, and GeneXO says American tourists have been claiming to be from Canada and Europe because there's a lot of U.S. hate. Oh, Lord, yeah, that would be sad. And then, yeah, Lisa, I like to replay on faster speed, gets the same content in less time, and I can slow it back to normal on the most interesting parts. That works. And then Mocha's like, damn it, forgot to suggest if you could look into the 1,500 immigrants that disappeared after that facility in Florida closed. 1,500 immigrants disappeared. Florida facility closure. That sounds like that one could get heavy fast. It's a good idea. I wrote it down, but woo. Yeah, GX says, like, Beacon add it to her list. And Lisa says, my friend says it's now 2,100 missing. Fucking people? And Sarah than H says, governments love to make intentional things look like accidents. I don't put anything past anybody at this point, honestly. Yeah, and GeneXO are saying that there's some homeless people that are going missing in Colorado. Yikes. And not a lot of information about the explosion. They just have a press conference with the sheriff. Interesting. Ah, man. Wow. These have been some crazy mini reads today. I'm glad that we got both of these. But wow. Now I'm going to have to look up that press conference that you're talking about to find out about that. And I wonder how long it's going to take for us to know. They have to write a report about it. Now I guess It depends. Do you believe the report they write about it or not? You know, we have a hard time knowing exactly what to believe and what not to believe. My ex-boyfriend, I had an ex years ago who was, in the army and a fairly high rank. And he said that there's a lot of things happening all the time that look bad that get written up in reports as training accidents. And he's like, yeah, you don't want to know how many things have been written up and logged and reported as a training accident. And he's like, most training accident reports that you see, it may or may not have been a training accident, so I was like, shit, and he didn't elaborate further, and I didn't ask, I wasn't going to try to make him, break anything, any kind of confidentiality rules or, what do you call it? Like when things are classified or whatever. I wasn't going to, make anybody do anything that goes against their country and stuff like that. But I was just like, eesh. So, it was bad. And, yeah, GeneXO, thank you for reminding me. You said, please look up the CERN portal opening, too. So, CERN portal opening, ? 11 minutes, you said earlier, for 11 minutes. All right. Y'all, wow, look at this damn sheet. Hello, usually you're the one that, look how bad this looks. It looks so bad. All right, I'm gonna get it figured out. Oh shit, I dropped my pen. All right, hold on. Let's see. We gotta do the giveaway. So let me pull this up and make sure that YouTube's still letting us. I hope so. Membership gifting, yay! It says that I can send 5. Let me see. Heather Marie says, yes, also CERN could be relative to the time things as far as glitches, not necessarily it moving faster. So yes, CERN and time stuff could have some weird overlap in readings. So very interesting. Very interesting. Lauren, hello. And you said Trump is allowing the Middle East nation of Qatar to have an Air Force base in Idaho. Muslim troops will now be trained and stationed right here on U.S. soil. This will make Americans safer. Okay, and I'm guessing you're saying this in sarcasm or whatever. I don't know. I can't tell when I'm reading things if people are like being honest or sarcasm or whatever. But so okay, this is interesting. I had not heard about that. So in Idaho, in an Air Force base. All right. Well, there's so many different things that look. I swear, we cannot keep up with all the things going on, can we? GeneXO says lots of secret operations we're not supposed to know about. There's a guy who was measuring the booms who was going to be interviewed, and he died of a heart attack right before. Yeah. Shit like that. Freaks me out. So, yeah, it seems like there's a lot of things going on here. A lot of hidden things, a lot of kind of sketchy things, a lot of kind of things that make us a little bit freaked out, which is why we're reading them in Spooktober, because it makes sense. Spooktober freaks you out. Ooh, but at the same time, some of these things are like very real. So it's like, so we've got our list. Thank y'all for that. We can start trying to look through some of these things and see what's what. And our next live stream too, I know I'm about to gift the memberships, but just so I won't forget, the next live stream I have listed for, where am I? Okay, yeah. I'm like, where am I? 4th Tuesday of the month, the 28th. So October 28th, which is a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So October 28th, which is a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern is when our next live stream is scheduled, just 3 days before Halloween. So we might have an even spookier Spooktober at that point, especially if I can shut up at the beginning so that we can talk a lot, about various readings and stuff throughout. So that will be interesting. We get to meet up again really close to Halloween. And Maddie says, looks like we're just going to have a 6-hour live party all night long. Yeah, we're going to have to do that. At some point, we're going to have to just do like, okay, we're getting silly with it. Let's do it live and stay here for a silly amount of time. Let's just cast caution to the wind and say, fuck it. We might have to do that at some point. That would be funny. That would be funny. Ah, man. Thank you for the marking your calendars thing there, Gene XO. Thank you. Just in time for Halloween, Maddie. Yes, absolutely. And now let's do our membership gifting. So I'm going to click the send 5 now button and let's see who YouTube chooses to be 5 winners for an entire month free in the Perk Squad. So clicking the button. Let's see who's chosen. All right, so congratulations to Lisa and Dawn Rose and TJ Renee and also to Minnie V. Congratulations to y'all. And is it going to choose one more? Yes, it did. Vixie Blaze. Congratulations to you. So yay. Welcome to the Perk Squad, all 5 of you. Welcome or re-welcome, whichever way. Welcome or welcome back to the Perk Squad. So welcome back to Lisa, Dawn Rose, TJ Renee, Minnie V, and Vixie Blaze. Woohoo! Happy to have you on the Perk Squad. Coughing because I've been talking for 2 hours and 5 minutes straight. So, not trying to get in the way of the congratulations. But there's only so much you can talk straight before you're like, all right, girl, cut it out. Congratulations, y'all, for winning this month. You get an entire month free into the Perk Squad. And as always, we'll do it again next time. So on October 28th, on that Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, we will do another giveaway of 5 winners for them to have a month free into the Perk Squad. So if you didn't win today, you can always win next time. Just make sure you're opted in. If you're not sure, then when you get the chance, click the join button or the link in the description box that has the link for the join button. Just click that, do the 3 dots that help you select more, and go to gift settings and make sure that the switch is toggled on to enable you to be allowed to have a gift. So just make sure you do that. If you aren't sure, if you are enabled, if you aren't sure that you're opted in, just check that so that next time you might be selected by YouTube to be one of the 5 winners. So, yay, we got our 5 winners. We've got our 2 mini readings. And we've got a healthy, lengthy list here that I'm going to have to rewrite because my chicken scratch is crazy. And that will help kind of lead us throughout the month of October and into our Spooktober mini readings for next time. So we got a lot of stuff here on the docket. Y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Ooh, I'm under this sweatshirt. I've got my Love You Mean It. I forgot I was wearing my Love You Mean It shirt today. So yeah. This is one shirt that I made that I was proud of. So it's on my little merch thing, and I don't know if my merch thing shows on YouTube or not. I know I have it linked on my website, but I've got my Love You Mean It shirt on today. So it had it under my sweatshirt. It was cold in the house for a while, and then now I've been sweating in here for a minute, so it's not cold anymore. But yep, so y'all know I love you mean it, and I'm very glad that y'all are here hanging out with us today. It's been fun. Got to have a lot of crazy stories and learned a lot and shared a lot, and it's been a good time. Had a lot of good laughs. Maddie's the MVP for all our laughs today. And so very, very grateful for all of you and all of that. And I hope that y'all have an amazing weekend coming up. You've made it to Friday afternoon, so I hope that you have an amazing weekend coming up. And I look forward to hanging out again on October 28th and seeing y'all in some upcoming videos before then. So, I reckon I am going to start to head out, me and our matching Penelope here and our greens. And don't be a stranger. Come back and see me, and I will talk at you later. Bye, y'all, at 2 hours and 9 minutes and 16